You have a bread on your shelf for 2 months. You now hide the brand.
You expected her to call the brand. She didn't call brand. She want to sue her. She now called the brand. See, you need to understand where we are as a country.
Even in where we are as a country.
All right.
Except you cannot prove what you are saying. And don't make an accusation you cannot prove.
When it has to do with something that can be poisonous or immediately dangerous to your health, I think you should immediately do what she did.
Okay.
You know, she's informing the people.
She owns a supermarket.
Okay.
Did she send a message to the brand to say, your bread has been here for this long and did not get spoiled? I'm worried I will not list your bread again. You know, there are many things that could have been done.
If you decide to own a brand, learn to say sorry. If you don't know how to learn to say sorry, borrow how to do sorry.
For the woman that came out, the owner of Bond Bread, I will totally say I do not support her coming. I own my own brand. I will not respond to trolls. I don't respond to comments that people make, especially when they don't mention my brand. Even when they mention my brand, because once you reply, you give it life.
The bread seller, the owner of the supermarket, I think informing Nigerians that there's a product like this is an important message. And I think she did a very good job in informing Nigerians that this is something that we should pay attention to.
She said she had called the brand to tell them to come take the bread.
Yes.
So there's a communication going on already, and
They didn't respond,
as regards to that. They didn't respond. She was waiting for them, and then after 2 months, she realized that. And so it's a great thing like that when it comes to our health, with cancer, all these kind of diseases that we don't even know where they're coming from, autoimmune disease, everything coming up. We need to be careful what we put into our system. There's an issue we have in our country, which is lack of standards. As a company, you should write the ingredients. What do you put in there? Preservative, this, that. So that if someone is allergic to something now, they can see. But the lady that said that she wants to sue somebody, first of all, I want to understand, like, what are your grounds for this suit?
Minding our business is where what has taken our country to where we are today. Everybody will see something that's going wrong. I beg, it's not my own. It doesn't concern me.
But then if they now say that something like this is happening, and then so many people are naming a particular brand, they've noticed it. The brand itself should sit down and wonder why, you know the amount of bread, when you go to bread aisle, you know the amount of brands, bread companies that put their bread. A lot. But you're naming your own.
Even if NAFDAC comes out and say now that we have done the check, there's nothing wrong with the bread has no preservative, we will not believe NAFDAC, we'll say they are compromised.
Not a lot of people will hear
woman's brand will die based on people's perception. Now, could she have kept quiet? I honestly, with the way that brand was not showing really, I would have not said anything.
Let's take a look.
Started as one viral video is now spiraling into something bigger. Fear, suspicion, and loud calls for authorities to step in. A TikToker raised an alarm. He said bread that stayed fresh for 2 months, no brand mentioned, no label shown, but Nigerians didn't wait. They connected the dots, named names, and the backlash spread fast. Now, Bond Bread is in the spotlight, denying the claim and heading to court, insisting their product cannot last that long and their reputation is taking a hit. But beyond the back and forth, a deeper concern is rising. Many Nigerians are asking, if bread can last that long, what exactly are we eating? Are there harmful preservatives in circulation? Are bakers cutting corners? And more importantly, where are the regulators? I would like a clip of the particular video to be played, if it's available.
She's holding Bond Bread and saying that my brand lasted 2 months. I also know that she says that she did not call any name. She did not mention names. How come people were calling me? I also saw in her comment section, before I called her, people on her platform had actually mentioned Bond Bread, and she hearted it, she liked it, which for me means that
I was waiting for when they would consider they can replace it. They didn't come. I called, they didn't pick. So I kept the bread. It's been here for 2 months. I'm not even lying. I was telling my girl that there could be dangerous chemicals in this thing, and she was like, I didn't know it was a thing until I went online, started seeing review. People are talking about bread that lasted for 2-3 months, even 1 year. And it's not only in Nigeria. You know our thing, when it reaches us, people go do and pass levels. This bread.
But when the lady came out to talk about the fact that she wanted to sue because she felt her brand was, mentioned, she claimed that at the comments section, when people were naming her brand, the particular lady was liking their post. So that also means that she sort of said it was her brand. But there has been a lot of backlash. Many Nigerians are saying that when it comes to businesses, we are very emotional in this part of the world. We don't like to take any form of criticism. We don't like to take any form of feedback. Once people give feedback, you see a lot of people complaining about it or threatening to sue, and they give examples of a particular brand of product that people complain. A particular lady complained about their product, and the company called, rectified the issue, told her to go to the hospital to check herself, now supplied her a couple of those products, that we should do better as Nigerian brands instead of just threatening to sue when someone calls you out. I would like the ladies to say from their experience. You know, we've also had this issue with one tomato brand some time ago, you know, that did a review and then the matter had to go to court. I think it's still in court. I'm not even very sure now. But what's your take on, first of all, the lady coming out to talk about what she's noticed about bread, different types of bread that stays for as long as 2 months, 1 month without spoiling? Then we can now dive deeper into how brands respond to such criticisms.
Okay, so reviews are a thing. You know, we depend on reviews to make decisions. When I want to buy something, I look for customer reviews so that I'm sure that what I'm buying, people have used it and they know it is good. If I see overwhelming evidence of people's use of that product and they say it is good, I will make a decision. Perception is very, very key. Perception is why the reply came in. But regarding the lady's review, I'm also very careful, which is why when I'm shopping on popular websites, I like to, they will write there that they verified the purchase of this item. Because I can import reviews that favor my product. The manipulations happen. When somebody wants to do a review of food like this, I don't take this as a factual review. I will take a scientific review. I would like somebody to post a picture and say this is the date, timestamp of when this bread was supplied. And I checked after the first week, this is what it looks like. I checked after the second week, this is what it looks like. A month after, and then you will see the timestamp of the dates. That is a review that it would immediately flag down even NAFDAC to say, let us investigate what is just happening. But there's another review of trend. Oh, I just saw this bread in my house, so what am I going to do with that information? Like, you're not advising, what are you saying? That everybody should now start testing their own bread to know if it works or not. Like, we have different reasons we're doing, people do what they are doing. But for me, at the end of the day, I would like to understand what you were hoping to achieve. Did you send a message? Because she owns a supermarket. Did she send a message to the brand to say, your bread has been here for this long and it did not get spoiled. I'm worried I will not list your bread again. You know, there are many things that could have been done in terms of how we want to inform people, what lessons we want to give people concerning the brand. What am I hoping to achieve? When I post anything online, I have an intention. I want to add value to people's lives. Some people just want to, I want to just inform you so that you will know. I don't follow those kind of people. So from my initial point of view, I was like, okay, let's check our bread to be sure our bread is good. But really, what are you trying to achieve? However, for the woman that came out, the owner of Bond Bread, I will totally say I do not support her coming. I own my own brand. I will not respond to trolls. I don't respond to comments that people make, especially when they don't mention my brand. Even when they mention my brand, because once you reply, you give it life. Once you engage, you give it life. And it's like you're pouring gasoline into a raging fire. You will not expect it to die down. So there are many layers to it. Perception, replying to trolls, engaging somebody when the person obviously did not mention your name. There are many angles that I feel we should be careful on how we relate with them. But let me hear other people's opinion.
Okay.
I think the message that the bread seller, the owner of the supermarket, I think informing Nigerians that there's a product like this is an important message. And I think she did a very good job in informing Nigerians that this is something that we should pay attention to. The matter of brand, that's a whole different conversation. And as you said, you've separated it into two, and we'll discuss that later. But right now, there's a lot of talk globally, not just in Nigeria, about different kinds of food additives and preservatives and types, you know, that may not necessarily be healthy for us, but is making some group of people a lot of money. And there are allegations and accusations that government may be working with these brands because it brings money to the country. It's a way of generating income. Revenue. And so messaging these days is about us taking our own individual steps, deliberate steps to protect ourselves. Because unlike before, where governments across the world, not just Nigeria, would protect you, now protecting yourself relies on you. So when you hear conversations like this, and I like the way she did it because it was decent. She was not putting the brand on blast, but she was saying, pay attention about, you know, usually, she said, usually when we buy bread, in a few days, it should go bad. I've heard of fruits too. People will show you fruits would normally go bad after a few days, but now we have fruits that just stay fresh on your shelf in your fridge for many days, up to weeks. Somebody also put this is in America also. She had pizza. This was even called the brand. She covered it up for 2 years.
What?
And it came out exactly like a burger and everything. And it came out exactly as she bought it 2 years ago, because she had been hearing about stories like this and she wanted to test it out. So no worms, nothing. So I think it's important as Nigerians, like many people all across the world, especially the Western world, are understanding that we need to take our health seriously, and it may depend on us to do this job for ourselves. So if I hear someone say, you know, there's this bread I bought and it didn't go bad over a period of time, it looks like there may be something that may not necessarily be healthy to my body. Pay attention. What does that do for me? I check the bread I buy in my house, and I will tell you this particular story. I had bread that someone gave us. It's not the bread I would normally buy. And I noticed that it had stayed a week and it was still the same. So I just noted the brand name. I was like, okay, we're not buying this bread again. So, and for me going forward, I would look. So I like that she gave us that information. Now, however, the branding part, I don't. Maybe let's move on, and then we'll talk about it when we come back.
Yes. Okay, so first off, I want to first of all commend and say God bless you to people that take time to actually write or do honest reviews, whether they're good or bad reviews. As far as they're honest reviews, even I welcome honest reviews about my brand, whether good or bad, because that means you love me, and that's the only way I can do better, right, and grow as a brand. That being said, so I really appreciate this lady coming out to do this review, and she didn't say anything wrong. To reply to she had, when you talked about timestamps, she said she had called the brand to tell them to come take the bread. Yes. So there's a communication going on already, and timestamp as regards to that. They didn't respond. She was waiting for them, and then after 2 months, she realized that. And so it's a great thing like that when it comes to our health, with cancer, all these kind of diseases that we don't even know where they are coming from, autoimmune disease, everything coming up. We need to be careful what we put into our system, and understand that most bread companies, they put preservatives, right? But then there's an issue we have in our country, which is lack of standards, certain standards. Like when you taste maybe a burger from a particular company and different branches, you have maybe 3 different branches, find out that they don't taste the same. But when you go abroad and the people have chains of the same business, when you taste the food, it's the same. So you don't even know the people that mixed the flour for that the dough for that particular batch of bread, whether they put too much preservative, whether someone was being lazy. What are the standards? And I noticed there's something in Nigerian bread. Nobody writes the ingredients and the amounts on our bread label. You know, we were so used to this bread in Nigeria that you just see normal clean nylon. They'll just put the name of the brand. In fact, that's all usually most breads.
And that is so true. Because they used to do it.
Yes, they used to do it anymore. Yeah, but that's it. You should, before you give someone anything that they should consume that is packaged, as a company, you should write the ingredients. What do you put in there? Preservative, this, that. So that if someone is allergic to something now, they can see. So if you're not even doing that as a brand, right? That one is one side. Then the girl even tried to, she made sure, she even said, voiced it out to say, I hope that the name or whatever label is not showing. So she was not targeting a particular brand. Even though she has issues with them, but she was coming out to, inform us, and that should be applauded. Yeah. That people should not be scared to make honest reviews. That should be encouraged that people should do that. And then for the lady that said that she wants to sue somebody, first of all, I want to understand, like, what are your grounds for this thing? But like you said, we'll delve into that. So when we get there, we'll go right the matter. But any bread, like when you buy your bread, as far as it's not refrigerated, and then it's on the shelf, and it lasts after 3-4 days, and there's no mold, mind you, run.
Yeah. You know this thing you people said, and I'm taking it from where Miriam had stopped, talking about how people are, talking about some of the preservatives that are available now in different foods that make your food stay longer than a natural food should. I remember when we started complaining about the very local bread that they call Agege bread. A lot of people condemned it, said it had, is it bromate, hair, and many people stopped eating. I know some quarters, they still eat it. That's the only choice that they have. But it's still a form of review that this bread that we are eating, we know that we like it. That bread is soft, foko, like very good with akara when you merge it like this. But it's not healthy for us. And so some people started making informed choices. And that tells me that we need to come out when we notice some of these things and say it's for the good of the populace, not just because we want to sit back and make money or mind our business. Minding our business is where what has taken our country to where we are today. Everybody will see something that is going wrong. I beg, it's not my own. It doesn't concern me. She could have noticed that thing, stopped it from coming to her supermarket, and faced other brands, and she wouldn't say anything. How she passed the message. Some person said she didn't pass the message properly. Other person said she should have had a long communication, which we have already established that she started, but the brand, the company did not respond in time. Maybe they didn't know it was going to get out of hand like this. How do we, for instance, you get a product and you're not feeling that product or something is wrong with the product, how do we, channel conversation with the brand or the company before going to make such an announcement? Do you think it's important to, first of all, have like a line of communication, engage first, and then if you don't get any form of result, you can go online? Or should you just come online and just educate the people that this and this is how this works?
I think what she did, especially, I think when it has to do with something that can be poisonous or immediately dangerous to your health, I think you should immediately do what she did.
Okay.
She's informing the people. And as you see, she did not call any brand. Because we're talking of adults and children. I mean, in another country, the government will look for that woman and say, please direct us to who is selling this bread, long before it becomes it goes viral. Now, however, what she did is fine. But we also need to know what the brand is. So the Nigerian government needs to know the brand and understand if this is just a one brand thing or it's widespread. And we have bodies like FCCPC. And I also hear that you can report to NAFDAC. So I hope that she did not just stop
with just the video,
the social media, whatever, that she took this matter to FCCPC and NAFDAC and reported that particular brand. I was even reading how you can make the complaints. They would ask you for evidence. So you have to take a picture of the product. You need to keep the receipt. Sorry, I missed it here. There are different things also that there's some numbers that would normally come on top of that particular product so they can follow up through on that. So we'll do the social media one, which is inform people, not necessarily naming any brand, but people would now be more careful about what they consume. I don't think people understand how, if it is deliberately done, that this is criminal. That a company would sit down and make food. We see the ones that the boys on the road that sell whatever, where they say they use dirty water to wash
the fruits.
We get so upset. Why are we looking at this one? Is it because it's a business in a house and people are speaking English? It's the same thing. If they can carry your oranges and wash in dirty water, it's the same thing as someone, it's even more criminal for me that someone sits down, puts in a lot of money, invests in something that could eventually kill you or cause you terminal illnesses, you and your children. And I think that the government should step in quickly. And I would have loved that this morning we're hearing that the NAFDAC or FCCPC had decided to take on this matter and be giving us, some sort of update.
So like you had asked like that, how that the lady passed on the message in the right manner. I think she did, coming to the general public and then tagging the right authorities from what I saw, that this is. And from what Mariam has said, as of this morning, this should be in the papers, right? As in, what steps have they taken over the weekend, to ensure that they visited the site of, because this lady on her own now has decided that is her brand. They did not call it her brand. Because let me tell you something, if someone makes a video, like this lady made a video, or someone makes a video of maybe a brand that you have a blender that crushes even comes, and then people come on that start saying, oh wow,
is it this? Is it that?
BC's brand, amazing brand, I have it too. The brand will not be angry. But then if they now say that something like this is happening, and then so many people are naming a particular brand, they've noticed it, the brand itself should sit down and wonder why, do you know the amount of bread, when you go to bread aisle, do you know the amount of brands and bread companies that put their bread? A lot. But they're naming your own. You should find out Is there something, am I the one personally mixing the dough? As in that if I'm the one personally mixing the dough, then I'll say, no, it's not possible. I do not put so much preservative. But if you're the control of the mixing that dough, you've given that control to another person, then you cannot come out and be shouting up and down. You first of all find out, why are they naming my brand of all the bread brands?
Why is my own more popular?
First of all, I feel like that if you have, as a brand owner, and if you have the this thing, the concerns of your customers at heart, your first question should not be fight or flight. The first question should be, why? Is there something going on? Can I look inwards? Let me call this woman for a meeting. Let's have a sit down. Can you bring the bread? Let's look at the bread before we just go from 1 to 100, right? That's what I think. Because at the end of the day, if you're a brand that you're doing consumables, the health and care and safety of your consumers,
you need to be very
I say that's number one.
Yeah.
So if anybody just says anything, your concern should be to fix the issue first before we not suing can always come later. But then, as we know in law, he who asserts must prove. So it's not even because the lady that has 2 months bread will have sued you, but you're the one that's there to sue. You're the one asserting. Yes, and that's the law. He who asserts, so you're the one asserting. You're the one that come and approve. So the burden is on you.
You have taken the burden.
Yes, you've taken the burden. But what
without being mentioned.
Yes, but my own is that as brand owners, please, we can do better. We should learn to, if you decide to own a brand, learn to say sorry. If you don't know how to learn to say sorry, borrow how to do sorry. Get pay people that can say sorry
on your behalf.
I started by talking about the importance of reviews because it helps us make informed decisions. And I also strongly believe that there are people who have sacrificed their lives to give us the knowledge that we have. People fought bromates, they fought for chemicals to be removed from food, and they named names. So if you really want to help us name names, I have beverages, very popular beverage that they say is the drink of champions. That we have seen is not drink of champions, it is drink of sugar. Because the publicity we have shows that it has over 50% sugar, and they put the name, put the 50% sugar, and they cannot sue these people. Because they did the work. They took the brand, did the check, the product was written there that this is over 50% sugar. So when they informed us, and it is all over social media that if you go and buy this drink, you are buying 52% sugar. And many other oils and cocoa butter, before the quantity of cocoa there is very small. That is empowering the people. That is informing the people. If you come and you hide brand of bread and you tell me this brand on my shelf, you did not help me. You just got views. So all of us will now go and be checking. If you really want to help your Nigerian citizens, that you have a bread on your shelf for 2 months. You have a bread on your shelf for 2 months. You now hide the brand.
You expected her to call the brand. She didn't call brand. She want to sue her. She now calls the brand. See, you need to understand where we are as a country.
Even in where we are as a country.
All right.
Except you cannot prove what you are saying. And don't make an accusation you cannot prove. If you can't prove it, don't make an accusation, because this woman's business has been in existence for 20 years.
Okay.
So you want to come now. I have been sweating and laboring on my business.
For 20 years.
For 20 years. You cover you say the brand is not showing. Is it showing? It's not showing. Is it showing? It's not really showing. But we all know the brand. I just called a drink.
Did you notice
I just called a drink because you don't know the brand.
Yes.
Those that know the brand, that are familiar with their breads I eat. Even if you cover the name, I know, because I know the color and I know the way it looks. So I know it. So if you've never bought that bread before, you will not know what it is. But if you buy it, you will know what it is. And you start saying, I'll not buy the bread again. No, business dead. Perception is very, very important. If you've run a business for 20 years and somebody comes out and wants to destroy your legacy, you will come and shout and say, no, I will sue you to court. And the woman said in her video, I have reached out to her to say this brand is not my own, because she liked the comments. Did you like the comments? Yes. So it is validating that it's my brand. Come out and say it's not my brand. I mean, is it my brand? And she did not get response. So she took it to the next level. She said, I have another certification. I have been doing this business for 20 years. I have all my products. I verify it. I will not poison people. Okay. But now, the message out there, the perception out there, validated by millions of people who never, ever ever get to know the facts. Even if NAFDAC comes out and say now that we have done the check, there's nothing wrong with the bread has no preservative, we will not believe NAFDAC, we will say they are compromised.
Not a lot of people will
the
hear
woman's
that.
brand will die based on people's perception. Now, could she have kept quiet? I honestly, with the way that brand was not showing really, I would have not said anything. I would have not said anything. But she had already made mistake of coming out to say, is my brand they are calling. I felt it was a mistake. There was no need to come out and say anything.
Till they actually call your name.
Until they call your name, the video and picture, I will not say anything.
While Tope was talking, I understood as a business person, you've labored, you've struggled, you've built a name, you've built a brand for over 2 decades. It's painful to hear that your cherished products, something you're so proud of, your invention has a problem. It hurts, no matter how we want to brand it. But do you think it's about destroying legacy? Or about the fact that most times, most business people, after a while, do no longer update in terms of new developments in the system, because things change over and over.
I answered it, but let me try.
Go ahead.
I like that, I like how you broke it down, because that was the way I was going to answer it, which is, first of all, where does your country stand? What's their policy on some of these preservatives, additives, healthy food, the sort of food that we give their citizens? People will tell you that in the UK, some of the sodas that we drink here is different from what they have.
Yeah,
and the difference sometimes, a lot of times, is in the quantity of sugar that we have in our own drinks. In fact, you find some people telling you that, please, when you're coming, bring the Nigerian one, because of the quantity of sugar. Because in their country, they have taken the time to investigate and research how much sugar would affect
the people,
people and the impact it even has on their health, sector as a whole. Nigeria, have we done that? Do we care? Do we have a policy so that when people come into the market, because our country is a country where many people, thank God for NAFDAC, is really trying to hold people accountable. You have a business idea, you just come into the market, open your social media page, and you start selling. You call it healthy, you call it luxury, you call it whatever, because those names, and you sell to people, they don't know what is right or what is wrong. There are many allegations against NAFDAC. Some people say NAFDAC is compromised. They say that it depends on how much money you have. Allegations, allegedly. So, and Ona did. I think she did the right thing. I know she did the right thing. She did not name any brands. And if we're insisting that she should she should name brands, she will go to NAFDAC and FCCPC and she will name the brand, and then the agencies will take it up from
not
there.
necessarily
So
publicly.
she doesn't have to be the one that names the brand. But she has mentioned to us what we should look out for when we buy bread, and that's fine. So whatever bread you're buying, just make sure that is this bread that, test it and see, is this something that stays for over a long time. Now, agencies will come and tell us that your bread stays in your shelf for 2 months does not mean there's a problem. Then they will explain to us. Do you understand? Now, concerning the woman that has a business, I think the PR was the issue. They tell you about language and how you should acknowledge some things first. When you acknowledge it, then you say, okay, we have heard, yes, we have heard this feedback. We will not knowingly and deliberately cause people to be sick or to poison people. But as she said, we've worked with NAFDAC, Sewing shouldn't have come out of her mouth at that time. And I think that what made it seem like, oh, you want to sue her because she has called you out for a poisonous, we're not just talking of something that just gave you a bad rash, for what could possibly be a poisonous product. So I feel that maybe her PR wasn't the best, but I definitely think that if you own a business, you're sure of the business, defend it publicly as much as the person who is alleging whatever it is concerning your business is.